Hello, everybody. Welcome to this live video today. I'm super excited and grateful to be spending some time with you today. We'll give people about 30 seconds or so to come on in. I'll take a sip of water. Cheers. And today we're going to be spending some time talking about a topic that I don't see anybody on the internet talking about. But that's their problem, not mine. Okay? But the information that I'm going to be sharing with you today will enable you to craft your one-to-many presentations in a way that has people create a new identity of themselves as they are listening to you. Now that's my goal. Why? Because if we can get people to create a new identity, we can influence them to take a new set of actions. So that's what we're going to spend some time doing today. We're going to be talking about the power of social identity and the role that it plays in crafting our one-to-many presentations. So what I want to do, matter of fact, pull up something from, well, did not want to do that. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pull up something from a coaching call that I did yesterday. And this comes specifically from my group coaching program. And I wanted to show you guys this because I think that this is extremely important. So I want to talk about this before we get to the power of social identity. So remember, guys, I make these videos solely to help you put more money in your pocket, so that when you create your one-to-many presentations, you have the ability to sell what you have and change people's lives. And ultimately, the biggest thing that's going to get in the way of what you are selling is going to be simply people are going to have objections. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I can't afford it. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what to do. I got to talk to my spouse. I got to talk to my dog. I got to go buy a llama. All of these different things people are going to be thinking about. So let me give you a quick breakdown. Let me come up on the screen for a minute. Before we even talk about that, we have to talk about, number one, what is your desired outcome when you're delivering your presentation? That is step number one. What is the desired outcome? What do you want people to do? I want people to enroll in my 12-week coaching program. I want people to go and buy my new book. I want people to go set new habits. I want people to what? What is the desired outcome? Okay, now let me come back to here. So step number two, what is the objection, or what are the objections that people are going to have, or your specific audience is going to have, that is going to stop them from taking action on what you want them to do? But that's where most people stop. See, what most people do is most people just deal with the objections but never deal with the root cause of those objections. Here is the thing. In order to obliterate objections and get people to take action and buy our stuff now, we got to focus on the root. If we want to change the fruit, which is the outcome, we have to change the root, which is what? The root of all objections is self-identity, but we'll get there in a minute. I want to help you understand this piece first. So when we drop our price, boom, people have objections. I don't got the money. I don't got the time. I got to talk to my spouse. I got to take my dog to the vet. I got to go buy 10 things of milkshakes tomorrow. I don't have all of these different objections. But where do the objections come from? The objections come from people's internal conversations. See, the thing is, before they give you an objection, they first have to give themselves an objection. So what does that internal conversation sound like for them? Oh man, I can't afford that. That sounds really good, but I don't got the money. Damn, if only I did have the money. Ooh, I really want to invest in that, but my wife would be really pissed off. So they first have these internal conversations, and then they give you the objection of, I got to go talk to my spouse. I don't got the time. So what we have to begin to do is not only identify the objection that we're getting, but what is the internal conversation that is prompting the objection? Because when we identify the internal conversation, then we craft our presentations in a way that shifts those internal conversations. But Where do those internal conversations come from? The internal conversations come from a belief. For example, an objection someone gives you. I got to speak to my wife. What's the internal conversation that prompts that objection? Oh boy, if I do this, my wife's going to be pissed off. We always talk about our finances together. I can't just do this on my own. I got to go speak to my wife. Okay, where does that internal conversation come from? A belief. A belief which says, whenever I buy something, I have to check with my wife. So the belief triggered an internal conversation, which in turn triggered an objection. I hope this is making sense so far. But where does the belief come from? The belief comes from a person's self-image. It is the way that they subconsciously see themselves. I love the way Dr. Maxwell Maltz puts it. He says that when you think of the subconscious, it's the person that you believe that you are. It's very close to the self-identity. It's also known as the self-concept. So the self-image is the way that someone sees his or herself. So let's say someone gives you the objection, I don't have the money. Well, okay, what's the internal conversation? The internal conversation is, oh, I would really love that, but I don't got the money. Okay, great. What's the belief? The belief is, I don't have the money. What's the self-image? Well, the self-image that the person has is, whenever I want something that is out of my reach, I will always find a way to prove to myself that I don't have the money. So the self-image is, I am a person that doesn't have the money. Okay, but where does their self-image come from? The self-image and the root cause of all of your objections is a person's self-identity. It is how a person identifies with his or herself. I like to think of self-identity as being categorized by the words, I am. To give you a further explanation, to maybe make this make more sense to you, a self-identity is comprised of these different things. A person's traits, a person's behavior, their personal narrative, their beliefs, their attitude. But I want to make sure that I make this point. That a self-identity, most of all, is comprised of a person's history. Their past experiences, the things that they've gone through. And it causes them to say, I am this way. This is me. It's their truth. So when we're delivering our presentations, the reason why we're not closing the way that we want to is because we're so focused on the objections, but you can never solve an objection until you shift somebody's identity. This is where our attention has to be when we're crafting our masterclasses, our challenges, our webinars. It's shifting their identity and helping them craft a new identity, which is now what I want to help spend some time describing to you. So how do we do this? How do we shift an identity? Let me come back to you. How do we shift an identity? See, when you're delivering, when you're crafting your one-to-many presentation, here's the steps that you have to follow. Okay. Number one, what is the desired outcome that I have for this presentation? Once you have the desired outcome, you ask yourself, what are the obstacles that are going to get in the way of the person taking action on the desired outcome? Then you get clear on, okay, what are the obstacles? What are the objections? Okay. Once I know the objections, remember, we come back to here. Determine the objections. Then you say, okay, how does that objection show up for them in their life? What's the internal conversation that they first have before they give me the objection? Then you describe that, you get clear on that. Then you say, okay, great. What's the belief that's causing this internal conversation? Then you get clear on that. Then you say, okay, what's their self-image? Okay, then you get clear on that. And then you say, okay, what's their self-identity? Once you got clear on their identity, here's the next piece. What do I want the identity of the group to be? Because when you're delivering a one-to-many presentation, whether you're doing a challenge, a webinar, a masterclass, or whatever the hell you want to call it, our goal is to transform an audience into a crowd. There's a really fabulous book. Let me grab it for you. if I have it over here. There's a really fabulous book right here by a gentleman named Gustave Le Bon, and it talks about the crowd, the study of the popular mind. This is how you gain mastery in your field. And he talks about a concept. He says, crowds doubtless are always unconscious. See, here's the thing. Why do I mention that? You have to first identify what is the identity that I want to create for the group as a whole. So an example can be, I want the identity of the whole of the group to be, we are coaches who are willing to invest high ticket prices in themselves. Now, why do I determine the identity of the group, the social identity? Because when you determine the identity of the group and you're able to craft and deliver a presentation that reinforces that identity that the group is to take on, a person within the group unconsciously adopts that identity. Because the crowd is always more powerful than the individual mind. But it's all in how we deliver our presentation. So you identify what is the identity that I want this group to take on. For example, if I'm selling a $10,000 offer, I want the group to take on the fact that we are high ticket investors who are willing to take risks on ourselves and bet on ourselves. That's the social identity that I want this collective, this group, the people that are on my challenge, my webinar. That's what I want us to have. Now, a different video, I'll talk about how you actually cultivate that. We have certain tools we use to cultivate that. But once you identify the social identity, see what happens is when you are specific on the social identity, it will influence the individual's identity. This is high level training today, guys. I'm sorry. Not really, because this could help you make a lot of money. So you say, okay, I want the group's identity to be, we are coaches who invest high ticket in ourselves, and we are willing to go to any extreme to get what we want. So then that social identity will become an individual's identity. Why? Well, in his book, Dr. Robert Cialdini talks about the power of focus, of focusing people's attention on specific things and the power that has. So the point is that when we focus people's attention on this new social identity of the group, they are more likely to adopt it as their own identity. And when somebody adopts this to become their own identity, objections are dissolved. Because remember, the root cause of all objections are a person's self-identity. So we have to identify what is the identity of the group, because the identity of the group will become the identity of the individual if you are able to deliver your presentation in the right way and you have the tools. Does that make sense? Okay, so once you determine the social identity, well, really from there, it's just about delivering your presentation and using the different tools that we teach to subconsciously influence your audience to take action. And that's what the subconscious storytelling system is all about. That's what we do. We help you craft, deliver a challenge, webinar, a one-to-many presentation that will convert your audience. It will connect with your audience and convert your audience at a much higher rate than not knowing the information that we're talking about here today. So I'll stop it there, guys. I hope that this information was helpful. The power of social identity and what it plays in your life. I want to pull up one other thing for you guys. Let me see if I can. A really good article. I just really prompted this. Let's see. So it's from Harvard Business Review. Okay, here it is. So I want you guys, if you guys are serious about this work and you really want to master this, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull it up for you all. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So it is called Why Your Customer's Social Identity Matters. Okay. So check this out, guys. I think it'll be super helpful for you. And I really hope that this information today, I know it was a high-level training, but I hope that it was at least beneficial and you're able to take something out of it. So thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it. We'll be back